Good. Hello, Jean and everybody. This is January 22nd of 2025 already. Time flies, And this is Kleros Community Call. I don't know what number.
Number 3 of this year.
Number, yeah, we were this last few days, we were with Claire and me working on compiling all of the calls we have since the beginning of the project. We did some on like Telegram, others were done on, I think on Discord, others, on different platforms. So, and we are uploading all of them so people can listen to all of the calls since the very early days. So, yeah, it's a lot of work because of, but we tracked most of them. Maybe we are missing 10% because I think in the early days Twitter didn't record the spaces. So, but we will soon upload all this into a new website that we are going to launch soon. So, well, I don't know, I don't know where to start. I was thinking that the crypto news of the week was going to be, Trump, the Trump coin, but then no, because the Melania coin came up later, and then all of the Ethereum Foundation drama. So I don't know where where to start. I don't have any.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't have any comments.
Yeah, I think we can. Marcos asked to give updates about BD first, and then we can maybe talk about.
Okay, you can go.
Hey, how are you? Can you listen to me?
Yeah.
Great. Yes. So if I can go with the video updates better because later I have to leave. So this week with the BD team we continue working with the research and contacting some Argentinian and Colombian fintechs, but this is something that is going well. But this week we have been talking with a very important company from Argentina that we still can't mention the name, but maybe next week or the other one, that is going to help us to sell Kleros enterprise in Argentina and other countries of South America. So this is going to be we're still going to be working with this research and contacting these companies until this contract is finally signed. Then we continue working with the people of Bondex. The contract is almost signed, and we are going to announce the partnership on March the 19th. They have like a very big community in X, in Twitter. So they need some previsibility for these kinds of announcements. That's why we are going to make it on March the 19th. Then we have the KIP 72 has passed, so we have a new Oracle court. This is something Alex has been working. So we have a new Oracle court for reality cases. Then what else? Smart Invoice was the other week. And then we have something that is working to Alex and Wangmian, that it's a new community interface that combines the functionality of Kleros Court and reality.eth. This is something that maybe Shin can mention something else about this, but I think that a new interface for this could be easier for this kind of integrations. So yes, these are the updates from the BD team of this week.
Cool, Marcos. Thank you. So yes, I'm very excited about this partnership with this company that could work like as a reseller for Kleros. I was at some point in the HCC 2020. I think I gave this talk where I mentioned a concept called layer 2 for dApps, where I use the example of Kleros as compared to Bitcoin. So they are both protocols. Bitcoin is a protocol that you can use for storing transactions that can be used for representation of value. And then on top of that protocol, people started building companies like, Coinbase, Kraken, other exchanges and wallets and all that. So, and that helps people who don't want to interact directly with the protocol through, Web3. Well, we didn't call it Web3 back then, but through blockchain apps to use it. I mean, and it has some user convenient features like store your crypto in Coinbase, and if you lose, you don't have to worry about your private key because they hold it for you. And you can have recovery of your password. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into pros and cons of that. People should have more things to choose from. So what if you apply the same idea for Kleros? So you have a protocol that basically organizes or coordinates people for making neutral decisions in lots of different types of situations. And then you can use that protocol to solve problems for real world companies in the industry of insurance, in the industry of fintech, in the industry of travel, and all of those industries where you have, potentially lots of disputes. But those people, they don't want to interact directly with the blockchain because sometimes it's operationally complicated. Sometimes they don't, they're not allowed to do it because of regulatory, reasons. What if you have kind of a intermediary company between the customer that needs to solve disputes and the protocol, and that company can have a business model that is similar to Coinbase, that can charge a fee for the service it provides to the customer. So that idea I presented in this talk in 2020, I think it was, in the HCC, and time passed a lot, and Kleros back then was a bit like early stage because it was expensive. It was a version 1 port. The decision-making logics were not great. You could not pick jurors from a predefined pool, all of the things that you already know. And time passed, we launched 2.0, and now what happens is that also the brand of Kleros is better known. By the way, Kleros was selected as one of the 30 top legal tech startups in France, so that's amazing. So Kleros has a stronger brand. V2 with a better decision-making logic is way cheaper, which means can be used for lower value disputes. So now with those improvements, we can start thinking about how to use Kleros for solving disputes in the world that is not the crypto world, in the world where people make a booking for an air flight and then the flight is delayed and there's a dispute with the airline. Situations where you have like a fintech, you're a customer of fintech company and they charge you for something that you didn't want to buy or whatever. So this is the type of dispute that Kleros solved for Lemon. Situations where there is a dispute between an insurance company and a policyholder about what should be the right amount of compensation or settlement value for car crash, personal injuries, stuff like that. So now what we are starting to do is to start building this ecosystem of companies that you could see as resellers of Kleros dispute resolution services, as you could see, kind of Coinbase as a reseller of the Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin, because there are lots of other coins and protocols, but as a kind of a reseller of that service. So this is what we are developing under the umbrella that we call Kleros Enterprise, and we already have a number of clients. Lemon, the province of Mendoza in Argentina. Then there's others that cannot really be mentioned because NDA stuff and all that. But in the field of insurance, there is another in the United Arab Emirates. Well, a bunch. So the partnership we are discussing with this company could help us build way faster all of this network of resellers for the Kleros protocol. I won't say more for now, but stay tuned because this could be a great thing. Okay, I will let maybe Jean. You want to say something about you becoming the leader of the Ethereum Foundation, or you just kind of it's not true? Can you confirm or deny the version?
I cannot confirm or deny. That will be, but I think it's probably the most interesting thing that happened in crypto the last couple of days of months. But at least I learned a lot about these discussions. But just maybe for people that are not very into it, there are people talking about where is the role of the Ethereum Foundation, where is the environment where Ethereum is now, where you have, for example, you have lots of alternative L1s like Solana, Aptos, and there's a long list that are actually gaining traction and getting real use, and also, of course, getting lots of speculative use, lots of volume. But so where is the role of the Ethereum Foundation in all of that? Should it be kind of this more passive organization that is creating a great environment for developers, or should it have like a more active role in promoting the applications that are built in it? And one thing that I think it's very positive is that they committed, the leadership committed to use DeFi protocols more actively. And well, maybe this could mean in the future also use things like Kleros or escrow, things like that, to make their payments. So I think that could be very positive to us. And we already got a couple of shout outs the last couple of weeks. So maybe this is kind of an indication that they're being more actively promoting the protocols they're creating toward this vision.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I cannot really comment on the political dynamics of the Ethereum Foundation because I don't follow that very closely. I think the underlying thing is, kind of this tension between legal entities and protocols or DAOs. Like what is the right governance level? It should be. Should there be like a legal entity or not? And if that legal entity exists, can you dissolve it? This is the type of topics that are like researched by people like Blockchain Gov. They have a team of researchers who study this type of situation. I mean, it also affects Kleros. Kleros, as you know, there is a cooperative Kleros that is a legal entity structured in France, which was founded to create and develop software for solving disputes called Kleros Protocol. And that company has a number of stakeholders who are members of the cooperative, and they have some governance rights because of being members. And the other thing is that you have also the Kleros DAO, which has in many cases overlapping members with the company because they are typically people who are interested in the protocol to succeed also are members of the cooperative, but not always, of course. And one of the big questions is like, what should happen in the future? Should there be a cooperative or not? Should the cooperative get dissolved and decision making go to the DAO? Should the DAO get rid of Federico? Hopefully, I mean, I said many times I'm not going to be here for forever. Of course, it would be also a bad, signal if the founders stay for forever. I mean, you can stay as a member of the protocol of the DAO with voting rights and some influence, but it should be a bit, the the Roman general Cincinnatus, on which Cincinnati city was named. He was a farmer, and there was a war in ancient the Roman Republic, and he was asked to go to defend the Republic. He went as a general, and then after they won the war, he went back. He didn't want to stay like as an emperor or anything. He just went back to the, his fields to work on the fields. Cleisthenes in Greece, Solon in Greece, similar situations. George Washington, William, what did George Washington do after his second presidency?
He retired.
And he wrote a very nice letter, right?
Yeah, he has a final sort of address where I think he talks about the powers of overreach or something of the government.
Well, there you go. So, these are the underlying tensions that exist in this type of projects. If you want to do something that is actually decentralized, I guess the founders, leaders in the very early days should at some point, be willing to say, and I have said this many times publicly. So, the thing is, what is the right timing? That's a hard question. But you want also this to be working to get traction. But yeah, I always say that this is something that I should not be doing forever. Okay, before I start crying, the question for the Ethereum Foundation is, I guess, the same kind of questions. What did we call this, Gene? The King, God King?
Yes, God King. Well, we were talking about God King Zuckerberg. So now it looks like there's. You already mentioned actually on another call that maybe Ethereum is kind of a religion, and on the timeline I also saw some confirmation of that. Like it's kind of a God King monarchy. So and it's difficult to transform it into another thing, right? But so
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I think I mentioned in the talk I gave at Ethereum at the ETC about the history of politics. Lots of like political philosophers, like for example Rousseau, thought that political community is based on some type of religion. Religion comes from the word religare, which is tying together. So it's something that ties a community. And so there is sometimes like some founding myths about in Rome you have the Sabines and the wolf and all that, and then in the US you had like a found the Manifest Destiny was the name. There is some set of strong beliefs that people have that tie them together. So as we have the same, at Kleros about justice, inclusion, and all that. So yeah, Ethereum. Well, I guess maybe some crisis of identity. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not a consultant, but for Ethereum. But those are the questions that people need to do at some point when they are like building this type of protocols. Okay. Let me move on to a different topic. Otherwise, we will we'll take all of the call about this. I have been this week, besides some stuff about Kleros Enterprise, also lot of curation use cases. So we have been in, as you know, the cooperative has a number of work going on in curation. In particular, curation seen as a private certification process. Like you can use the Kleros curation process as a certification for like organic wines. Members of the community came to us and told us that they work at a cooperative of farmers, and they do like dairy products, and they have the same problem that Mike had with the certification of organic, wines. And the process is not very transparent. It's not really, people don't trust it because they see that the certification is done. They just you pay the company that certifies you, so they have every incentive to give you the certification because otherwise they lose a customer. So there's a lot of like not great incentives that can be resolved through some credibly neutral method for certification. We just onboarded one business developer called Fortunato, who is focusing especially on this. So we expect to start having more news about this type of use case, which is quite cool. So I've been working on that a bit this week. Then we had, well, as you know, we have a bunch of different use cases. Kleros is very flexible, so it can go from solving a dispute for a car that was repaired not in a good way to who actually won the Romanian election. So that is how flexible this is. So having disputes of those very different topics at the same time, highlights, how adaptable the protocol can be. I will maybe let Jean comment a bit on those cases.
Yes, one case that is already solved is the home services platform. It's actually in Uruguay. The application is based in Uruguay, and it was about fixing a car basically, and the application has a dispute policy that there is very detailed, because these types of cases, as you like, if you ever had someone work at your house or like as a plumber or constructor doing construction work, you know that usually the conditions that you specify at first, they might change because of the nature of the situation. You might find something else to fix. There might be like different like weather conditions that affect the first agreement and things like that. So yeah, that's what happened in this case. So the jurors had this difficult job of checking all the conversation that the parties had, their initial agreement, the subsequent agreements after some things were found in the middle, the delay that happened, the additional costs that were generated, all of that, and then they came up with a verdict. And the justifications were very detailed. It really looks like the jurors put the effort into like getting a fair result. And I think in this case there were both positions were reasonable, but I'm pretty convinced that if the parties that read the thought process of the jurors, they would be okay with the results, even if they do not agree with it, which I think is like the most important thing, right, Federico? And I'm very curious to see more cases like this, because it will also help the jurors to have, for example, kind of a jurisprudence about how to solve these cases, and having even improve the policy if that's necessary in the future.
I was asked a question. That's more for William, and so let me see what you think of this, William. I mean, I know I didn't warn you in advance, so I'm not going to consider this answer like binding. But some people asked, like, if the case has a lot of evidence that starts accumulating and takes a lot of time of jurors to analyze and increases the time it takes to make the decision, should the reward, the fees for jurors increase as well, scaling with the evidence?
Like, ideally, you put your cases in courts that are calibrated to the typical level of difficulty of the case. Like, it's like, ideally, yeah, like, if the case is harder, you'd be paid more. But it's hard to build that into the system in like an automatically adjusting way that can't be manipulated. Like if the fee just increases with each piece of evidence, what happens if somebody submits fake evidence? Like Kleros is really based on sort of people paying the fees up front because blockchains can only you can only sort of put at stake what people have already locked up. So what if the evidence is much larger amounts of evidence than what
Right.
was expected when you locked up the fees at the beginning when the parties created the case.
I need some mechanism to challenge what is seen as trivial or manipulative evidence just to increase the fees, right?
Yeah, right. So if somebody intentionally puts their a really hard case in a court that is calibrated for easy cases, then the appropriate thing is probably to refuse to arbitrate. To be like, you put this in the wrong court, you're intentionally trying to manipulate the court, you're like, this is against the policy somehow. But if some kind of automatically adjusting system is good in theory if we come up with something, but again, there are challenges. Kind of like what I would say the current approach now is you try to get calibrate the different courts for the average type of case you have, and then if you're a juror, and there's a couple of hard cases that have lots of evidence, that should maybe you'll put in more time than your reward for that case. But as long as the average case reflects the fees that you're being paid, then it should average out over many cases.
Okay, so I mean, also I guess as we get more and more the cases courts, we get more specialized jurors, and each court will have more specialized cases, I guess. So because so you would have cases would look a bit more like to each other, right? As this has more traction.
Yeah, but I mean, you can totally have cases that have related kinds of topics and even require juror skills that have different levels of difficulty. And we've had some courts that we've created that aren't necessarily the most active courts, but fall into this example where we try to have the hard and the easy version of cases and point them to different courts. We have a curate medium court, I think, on mainnet. So that the typical curation court is supposed to have easy cases, but if you have hard curation cases, that goes to the curate medium court, and then conceivably you could have the really hard curation cases which go to the curate hard court that we could create at some point in the future. And certainly, as you get lots of volume and you start to realize, okay, these types of cases tend to have this level of difficulty, you should be able to filter them like this.
Okay, fair enough. Well, go ahead with the update.
Yeah, so I've been continuing a lot of this similar research that I've discussed in previous calls, stuff related to peer prediction. So this is this idea that I have a blog article about this from several months ago, that you might be able to take ideas from the academic field of peer prediction, where not only kind of this is an extension of shelling games, and that not only you try to predict how people are going to vote on a case, but you also provide information on how percentages of, okay, I think X percent of the population will vote for this answer, Y will vote for this answer, and Z will vote for this answer. And traditionally, peer prediction mechanisms use those sort of percentages to kind of try to pick out expert minorities. So realize, okay, just based on how the votes that you had, the raw votes versus the predictions of votes, you can see that there are these expert minorities that know that the right answer is something, but anticipate that the crowd will vote for something else. So unfortunately, there's a long tradition of back a decade or two, people proposing these ideas for different kinds of crowdsourcing platforms. They're hard to implement in a blockchain environment because they depend on kind of a central authority stepping in to prevent kinds of manipulations, or people pretend to be enlightened minorities, but they're really just attackers. But I've been thinking in the past months about how you can recover some of the ideas of these different systems, and you can use them for a related problem in Kleros, which is how to adjust this deposit, the vote stake that you can lose from your deposit in PNK, so that in cases that are clear cut, and you're still wrong, you maybe get penalized more versus edge cases, where if the case is genuinely difficult, maybe if you're still and then you're wrong, you're penalized less. And this could have better UX for risk adverse participants. So I've been thinking about that. I have a blog article from several months ago that if you haven't already read it, you're welcome to read. Trying to extend our research, generalize some of those ideas, have more realistic models, see how that would influence like the eventual creation of a dispute kit that uses these ideas, and how you would parameterize such a thing. Beyond that, continuing to think about soulbound token weighting. So this is this idea that people have soulbound, like non-transferable NFTs that attest to some aspect of identity, and then how you use those in the jury selection process to pick out people with certain skills, weight people to have panels of people with diverse collections of skills. We have a second blog article on that that's going to come out soon as we sort of clean up the notation and finish the images. Working on the organization of our conference we're going to hold at King's College in London in April, where these and other topics will be discussed. So if you're in and around London, you should check that out.
Yeah, I can also. I mean, I think the speaker lineup is kind of quite advanced now. So we just mentioned a few of the speakers that confirmed. So we will have. Well, I mean, the big star of the conference is William because the conference is for mechanism design in centralized justice. So this is mostly about all of the research we've been doing. The goal is to inspire other academics to start working more on this type of topics, start working more on how to make this mechanism cheaper, faster, more resilient, more resistant, and all that. So, so we will have, for example, Glenn Weil is going to be speaking. We're going to have Nathan Schneider. He confirmed also like this week. We will have a professor from King's College who actually works a lot with Nathan Schneider. Her name is Federica Carugati, and she wrote this very, very good book that I very much recommend. It's called Creating a Constitution, and it's inspired in how the Athenian legal system or political system was built, and all of the incentive design they put into that system without, I mean, knowing anything about incentive design. But a lot of the ideas that we implement in Kleros come inspired by that, in the sense of the challenger system for curation comes a lot from that. A lot of ideas. Well, obviously, the court system is very much inspired by the Athenian court, in the sense that anyone can participate. And well, there is a procedure for selection which is random. They used that what called Kleroterion. The token they used to be selected was called the Pinakion. That's where the name of the PNK comes from. So Federica is a scholar, political scientist, and she wrote this excellent book. And I'm very happy that she's coming to this panel. She's going to be the moderator, and that panel is also going to have Sofina Pert, who is an arbitrator based in London, in Russian arbitrator, very high prestigious, and she does like a oil and gas arbitration for like billions of dollars, and she's a follower of Kleros, a long time follower. Then we will have a panel about Kleros and AI. How can you use Kleros to prevent like algorithmic biases, algorithmic manipulation? Then we have another other speakers. William, who are the Rafael? Yeah, you will remember the others who confirmed already.
Yeah, I can't recall exactly who confirmed. I don't have the thing in front of me, but yeah, we have a couple people I think speaking to these peer prediction ideas. So I'm not sure which person confirmed, but we can check and get back to you.
Next week we can tell you exactly who confirmed already. Okay. I think that's it for me. Jean, anything else we want to say today?
Yes, I think Marcos already mentioned a bit, but if you tried, for example, the Kleros, lots of Kleros applications actually. For example, Susie, if you tried Seer, resolve the question on Seer, or the module that we have for governance on Snapshot, you probably saw the Reality ETH interface, and it's not a very friendly interface, and it's also not controlled by us, and it's kind of hard to see the questions that are open. It's an escalation game with bonds, so well, basically a pre-Kleros, let's say, and